Hey, it's Scott Langford from the Gen channel. I'm talking today to Negin, a former Foothill transfer student to UCSD. She's just finishing up at UCSD in a completely fascinating field that has her involved in a cross-border collaboration between UCSD and Tijuana. And I want to know more about it, especially because it involves sustainability, it involves design, and it involves international collaborations cross-border. So hi, Negin. First of all, can you remind me what the field, what the very specialized major is that you're involved with down there at UCSD? It sounds really exciting.
So I am majoring in two different fields, speculative design with emphasis in urban ecology and design systems. And the second one is data analytics in political science.
All right. And what an exciting combination. As you were saying, it's kind of like not just it's more like a STEAM field, STEM with the arts, right? So it's got like data analytics, got a lot of math. Excited for you, proud of you, amazed that you're doing this, amazed that you're doing this work. So tell me more about the project that you're involved with in the cross-border collaboration with Tijuana.
Okay. So I developed this project as a part of a class called Problems at the Border as a part of my speculative design major. So in this class, we were supposed to connect the university to some community centers around the city and the Tijuana region. As you can see, the above point is our university, and then the community center that I chose is actually the one down in Tijuana called the Divina Providencia Community Center. My proposal was supposed to answer a problem that we currently have in the community that I was targeting and propose a solution for it using the resources that we have at school. So as a part of the class that I was taking, the issues at the border, we were introduced to different communities living in San Diego and in the Tijuana region. And even though these are basically one city continuing across the border, there are many issues that San Diego does not have, but Tijuana does. And one of those things is actually the issues of waste, because the way that the setup is, everything that San Diego uses, the trash goes down in Tijuana, and then they have to live among that trash, or sometimes there is sewage in the water. There's sewage in the water. They have to coexist with this unrecycled, very unclean environment. And
yeah,
so,
talk about environmental racism that I'm glad you're aware of. I'm glad your program is making you aware of.
Oh, that's actually right. It's very unsettling to see that even though it's exactly the same settlement continuing just across the border, the living conditions are very much different. There's even no comparison between the resources, the facilities, the access that people have to even basic needs like water. As a part of that class was this prompt to this project that, okay, well, using these resources that you have, how can you solve the problems of your neighbors? Can you propose a system or a solution that we can use with the resources that we already have?
Okay, I love it.
Yeah, so we were introduced to the problems, to the resources, and then we were encouraged to do our own research and come up with a proposal.
Okay, great. And now I'm ready to go back to your other slide, because now I'm ready. Now that we understand where the problems come from, which I know was a big part of the class, that's why I paused you, right?
Yeah.
So now that we understand how you come to a better understanding of the issues, including the implications for our own responsibilities here in the United States, now I do really want to hear more about what you came up with in terms of possible ways to help out.
Yeah, and so the area that I focused on was electronic waste. And so I did some research. My university is trying to be very active in environmental initiatives, and what they do with their electronics is that they separate the electronics that the university does not need anymore from the computers that are completely broken, and the ones that they just don't have any more use for it, and they update them just because they need to have like the latest technology. The computer is completely fine. They just don't want that version of it anymore, they send it to this place called surplus sales, and they sell it at an auction and to members of the community or even the educational community. And I was thinking, we already have that system that separates what we can salvage and what we can't, and what happens after if the items are not sold on surplus sales. And I didn't get enough answers that I wanted to, but I started thinking about what if we take these electronics that we don't use anymore, which are perfectly fine, they're just a couple years older than what is acceptable to have at our university, and we take them to these community centers and prepare and create these environments of education for technology for the members of the community.
I love this idea, because I love that you're looking at these resources that are underutilized and figuring out how they can help people elsewhere that are under-resourced. And I'm glad that you took me back to your like completely fascinating slide here too, because it also shows that you're thinking at the systems level, cross-border, which is really powerful.
So because selling items at an auction is not exactly always constant, I was pretty sure that the university is not investing so much on that money to pay for something else. And upon further research, it appears that if there is money generated out of that sales, they just infuse it in more electronics, but they don't necessarily bet on it for it to be there every month. So after I proposed this to my professor, he really liked this project, and he said that, yeah, that's actually very good. And we had a meeting with the facilities manager for the visual arts department at my school. And he, while he's not in charge of this whole setup, he said that, yeah, eventually this is totally possible for us to donate all the functioning good computers, or even just the computer parts that we're going to use in the system. So my professor for this particular class and the person who's in charge of Center on Global Justice is Professor Teddy Cruz. He is a speculative design teacher, and he is also working with Professor Fauna Foreman on the Center on Global Justice, whose class I'm also taking this quarter, which is about bending the curve on climate change. So everything, like you can see my areas of interest here.
No, everything comes together. That's exactly right, just like that graph that you have there.
Yes. So this is the I mean, Corona kind of stopped everything from happening, but yeah, we are trying to work on all of these aspects as much as possible remotely, so that as soon as we can get back and border opens back up, we can continue working. So we were thinking that children can have classes and learn about technology, learn about engineering aspects of working with computers and what they can do, and scientific research. And then we can have adult classes that teaches the members of community basic computer skills or things they can do on computers. Very simple things like filling online forms can be very helpful and life-changing for some people. Yeah. And as a third part, we were thinking about having an electronics shop in the community where we can have some computers and then some computer parts that are functional. And we can basically set up this place where people can have access to secondhand, but still very functional computer parts and electronic parts. And as the revenue that is generated from the electronics shop is gonna feed into these schooling programs. And then the demand that these classes generate for the electronics shop will continue maintaining the need for the electronics in the shop.
Wow, so even the sustainability part of it is even financially sustainable, which is great, right? Yeah. Because that's another false stereotype that if you're going to do environmentally sustainable work, that it automatically isn't financially sustainable, and actually that's a lie. It's the complete opposite of the truth, and here you have essentially designed a self-supporting cross-border economics, sustainably economic system that really does answer some needs in your neighborhood, in your neighboring communities. It really is a fully fleshed out, fully thought through project that you've come up with here. It's not just a brain bubble, like you've really gotten down in the weeds. You've met with facilities directors. you've thought about how the finances will work with your data analytics side of your brain. You're still bringing a truly design thinking kind of sustainable mindset to the problem in ways that I think can be super effective.
So yeah, that's actually one of the parts that I was very concerned about, was that I wanted this project to go on after I graduate. And there are members in the Center on Global Justice, and then there are community members active at the community center that we are targeting that are going to hopefully work on this and continue it. I mean, basically, I wanted to make sure that this program feeds itself enough so that it's not a burden on the community center for it to continue. But really in addition. So one aspect of it was financially, which the electronic shop is going to provide. Another aspect of it was demand, that we are really hoping that by having both adults and children's school, the adult members of the community will realize this need for technological education that they don't currently have in their life. And that way they can we can make sure that the children keep coming and their parents encourage them to come, and vice versa.
Yeah. Now, can you tell me a little bit more about two questions for you? Oh, and go ahead to your new slide too, but I want to make sure that I know, first of all, who else is on your team besides Professor Cruz, and the facilities manager, if there are other people, because teamwork is an essential skill set, of course. And same side on the other side of the border, have you been able to gather feedback or input yet from either users of the community center or leaders in the community center on the other side?
Yeah, so a couple of issues was that we were supposed to really apply this program this spring, and the spring was when everything just went on the air. But we've had some feedback. We've presented this in 2 symposiums now. There were, I think, 30 people on average there in each one of them, and they're all members of the community or members of the educational community that are active in the border region on similar programs. Like, for example, they have remote classes, or like they throw contests for students. They're working on the watershed. So they all have experience in this field, or experience in education in underdeveloped communities. So yeah, so that because we couldn't apply the program, we tried to receive our feedback that way. Our team right now, a year and a half later, it consists of me. I have another undergraduate student first year working with me basically. She's a computer science major, and she helps very much with developing the lesson plans. So basically, since the corona happened and we had to work remotely, we started to focus mainly on the content of the lesson plans for each of the classes, so that once the border opens back up, we can jump right in there and have the first set of classes immediately, and then receive in-field feedback as soon as possible. So that's
wow. I'm impressed that you're also working on the curriculum aspects of it as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Wow. What's the name of the other undergraduate you're working with? What's her name?
Her name is Anna Kanha, or Kanha. Okay. Another person I'm working with, she just graduated last year. Her name is Nadia Lopez. She is she has 2 years of experience teaching in field. She's actually from Tijuana, and she was here working with the center before me for 2 years. She has that experience in field that really helps us develop these programs while we cannot have access to the community center or the children. And she also translates the lesson plans for us, because my Spanish is very basic, and Anna is from Brazil and she doesn't speak that much Spanish either. But we develop these lesson plans. All of our lesson plans are developed for the children's, and we are working on the adults' lesson plans as well. And she's translating them for us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Since I'm a teacher, this is making me really happy. I think it sounds like you have a great, your team itself is international, multilingual.
Yes.
And it's great that you're collaborating on the student side too, right? So I guess in my head, for a while I thought, oh, maybe it's just you as one student working with a team of professionals or professors, but there's actually a whole team of students, which is great. And you get to test your leadership skills that way too, which is fantastic.
Actually, the next slide is what started everything. This is what I submitted as my final project for that class. So you see when I mentioned that, like, in speculative design, we try to target issues and then we propose them in a visual artistic manner. Is like,
I was about to say, it looks like you got a degree in fantastic infographics, which I guess you just told me that you did.
I mean, looking at it like a year
later, it looks amazing.
It's a little bit too messy, I think, but like looking at it like a year later, like I kind of cut this into 10 different visuals by now, but this is, I feel like it's a very good starting point. And every time I have a meeting with my advisor, that Professor Cruz, he's like, can you bring your final project back up? I kind of need a refresher. So this is like all the visions and the missions and the people involved in one picture. But then, like, I mean, like I said, in the past year, I've kind of divided this into different visuals. So this is just a cycle of where the project is going. The Center on Global Justice is kind of mediating between UCSD and the Community Center, taking the resources from UCSD and applying the project in the Community Center.
Where are you on that arrow now? Would you say you're near the end, or like where did you want to be? Where are you? I'm just kind of checking in on that because I love the flow, but especially with COVID getting in the middle of it all, I mean, it seems like you did already get down to the lower purple arrow or lavender arrow.
We were,
but I'm not sure if I guess you haven't, you're sort of like stuck on the implementation stage because COVID interrupts everything, essentially.
Yes. So since this visual, we had some actually advancements that I didn't think we were going to have. For instance, one of the things that happened was that even though I was planning to use everything used and recycled for the program, I was actually advised to apply for a grant and I got accepted. And now we have like this resource that we can use for class material, buying prizes for the children, things like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we got I think it's pretty decent amount for like starting the project and applying it for 1 quarter is very good. There's that is not in here. But I would say in terms of like where we are right now, we have been presenting the problem. We have been talking about it enough, I think, that we can be in the groundwork application if it wasn't for Corona. But we are actually thinking about developing a plan for the COVID age, because we don't know when we're going to be able to go back. So we're actually brainstorming ways of approaching people in a remote manner, which is a very interesting challenge because these are people who do not have access to technology. Like we are very lucky if they have cell phones, if they have access to the internet. We have very good number of people on our Facebook page, like about 1,000 people, but out of those people, not that many are active. So first as tutors, second, and then afterwards as mentors for the students at the community. Because right now the technological education is very low at the Divina community that we are trying to target, we are hoping that out of the adult school will come out a future educator from the community for the community. Yes, so that way the program can also feed itself in terms of having educators. And the undergrad students in STEM fields will basically be the TAs of the class in a sense. And provide support for the children at the or the adults. You know, the technological literacy that we have in our undergrad students is more than enough for being actual educators in these classes. These are very basic classes that start from what is a computer and go all the way to what is engineering. So
yes,
I think that's a good opportunity. There was also this matter of really making sure that technological obsolescence is not the same thing as electronic waste. And I just really wanted to make sure that these computers get a second life, and not to just be sold and God knows what happened to them if they're not sold. and really to connect the university to the community centers in a new way. And I think it's very important in the sense of the imbalance that we see between San Diego and Tijuana, educationally, technologically, in every aspect of the way. So this is the classroom that we're working with right now. They're planning to have the whole building redesigned and really make it again. But right now, this is what we're working on. The covered things in the back in this picture are the computers. They currently have 5 computers there, so which is lucky because we can have a test run of the lesson plans without having to worry about getting the electronics across the border first. So this can help us get feedback for our lesson plans by the time that we can facilitate the university and the community centers connection in terms of like the electronic waste, the electronic recyclables, basically. We designed our lesson plans to be taught in this class where students can learn things and then go work on the computers. And these are the lesson plans that we've designed. As a part of the Russell Grants application, we designed a science fair for the children. So the Russell Grant is merely for the students, for the children's program. Because that's what we were focusing on at the moment. So we designed the science fair that happens at the end of each quarter. Each quarter it's not a quarter, it's like a 8-week program, but you know, sometimes there's a week here and there off. So it's 8 weeks of a program, and then on week 9, we have a science fair where students can get to do research on something that they learned using the computer, something that they're interested in. There are a lot of issues at the community that the students are really interested in, is what our experience says from previous programs. And they can apply it in their research. They can use their research however they want. They can write a song about it. They can do a theater act about it. They can present it with like a poster board, however they're comfortable with. And we're trying to be very forgiving with like the aspects of how this research should be done, because there are students who have no educational literacy enough for a research project. So we're trying to be making them as comfortable as possible so that they do any research that they can do. So there's that. Yeah, and then as you can see, the lessons start from basically what is a computer, hardware and software, and they go all the way to how to conduct yourself online, what to believe online, what's an advertisement, what's news. And they go on to having a robotics week, and we're planning to purchase multiple robotic packs for them, and then they can have like a robot race at the end of the class.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, as a teacher myself, I just want to compliment you, Negin, on your wonderful instructional design. That's really thoughtful. There's a capstone project. You're addressing ethics and behavior. You've got this like cool, exciting robotics component, but there's also an eco-entrepreneurship component, the engineering STEM component, research and critical thinking skills. It's very comprehensive. It's really well designed, from what I can tell, at least at a glance. So congratulations, Negin.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And all of these lesson plans are complete now with all the materials that they need, all the resources. Another thing that I developed as a passion project, and then they liked it, was actually creating a mini library. And I've put together a short list of books in Spanish for children that are related to each of these lesson plans. So we're planning to introduce them to these books at the end of each class if they want to read more and work on it more. And you know, we always have that their educator and the UCSD undergrads there to go through them with them.
Well, I can sure see this has been a passion project for you. It's amazing. Like, I'm a little stunned. I didn't realize how extensive. When I invited you to do this little talk for me, I actually didn't understand until now how elaborate and extensive and impressive all that you've achieved has been already. I mean, it's way past getting off the ground. And as you say, except for the COVID crisis, you would be even further down the road. So it's quite amazing what you've been able to achieve. And I just have to put another shout out for your excellent skill sets in infographic design, because it's been really well done, and it really does help me grasp both the complexity and the simplicity in terms of simple and effective design that you put into this project.
Thank you very much.
All right, so what's this one about?
So as you can see, the tech route is our lesson plans, and there was this other program that hadn't been worked on for a while in the center, but Nadia, the student that we're working with, she's not a student anymore, the graduate that we're working with, she took on that project that focuses mainly on biological sciences and environmental sciences, which is the eco branch. And she developed these lesson plans to match our lesson plan, and they work very well alongside one another. So each week we have 2 classes. So for example, on Tuesdays, the kids can go to the technology class, and then on Thursdays, they can go to the eco class. And at first, these topics don't connect as much, but both of these classes end up at the science fair. So her topics are go anywhere from working on the native plants that also connects to a different student project. We're really trying to connect all of our programs together. And I think issues at the community with the kids, they always point out the trash. And I feel like the science fair is a very good place to bring all these lesson plans together and really help the kids, show the kids that you can think of solutions as well, which was really what got me working on this project. Was that my professor asked, okay, can you bring a solution to some problem? And I think it's very important for any student at any degree to know that they can do something like that.
Well, and I'm also impressed, though, that you paused to say, because so frequently it's not just us bringing solutions, it's us, there's an empowerment piece. Like the children know, they live with the problems every day, and they know the problems, and they know what they want to work on. It's partly giving them the tools and the support and the skill sets with technology, the technology itself, so that they can actually address the problems within their own community. So it's great that it really is a partnership in that way, all the way down to the younger students in the program, bringing their own perspectives and their own ideas about what are the problems, what are the solutions. So I'm proud of that as well. And of course, I love the way that the technology and the sustainable eco sides are consistently step-by-step brought together. That's a brilliant part of the instructional design as well.
Thank you. Yeah, of course, the issues with like sustainability or the waste or even electronics waste, they're not things that we can solve from the Tijuana community, but there is this lack of awareness there that is also not helping either. And maybe I'm really hoping that this can bring some good for the kids, where they can, maybe they can't solve it, but they can actually think about, okay, what we can do about it and what I can do about it, even though I'm a middle school kid, And a big part of it for me was also for them to get encouraged to, do go to school, because there is no incentive for them to, there's no high school. So really these programs that are from the community, for the community, are very vital for educational level in some of these areas.
Yeah, I love the way you just said that too, Negin. From the community, for the community. That's a great motto, and once again, your program really speaks to that, which is a beautiful thing about it. From the community, for the community is a great motto. Keep using that one.
Thank you.
This is the language arts teacher talking here, but also the sustainability advocate. Yeah.
Another thing that another matter that we're trying to focus on right now is to design the program in a way so that we can apply it on not just this community center. So there's another community center that is working with Center on Global Justice, which is called the Alacran as a community center. it's a refugees facilities, basically. And so that's different from the Divina Community Center, where in order to get the children or attract a community in any sense, we should reach out to the middle school that is across the street, or you really attract the students from outside. This we have a community that we can work on up close, and we know how many children are going to come to classes, how many adults are there. So that's a whole different setup, but we are hoping to have this program designed in a way that we can apply it there as well.
All right. I mean, my head is full of, I'm getting a little, just kind of in a nice way, a little emotional. It's such a beautiful program. I mean, I think there is a beauty to it and a heart to it as well. I mean, we can talk we have too. It's great that there's a technology component. It's great that there's a sustainability component, but I think that there's also very clearly a heart component in this. And that part of supporting a community is absolutely essential. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but it comes through really well in what you're saying as well. So it's fantastic that this doesn't just grow knowledge, and it doesn't just grow skill sets, and it doesn't just try to address this very serious issue of eco-racism and dumping of e-waste and all kinds of waste in communities of color across borders internationally, but also just to support the growth of communities as communities, which is what we all need to thrive and survive.